The heavy machine gun is the fastest and hardest hitting gun in this game, and that combination can solve a lot of problems for you. But don't take my word for it.
Now, I believe in speed. Power. Power and speed solves many things.
No truer words were ever spoken. If you want to fight up close or just want to try out that experience, this weapon is going to absolutely elevate your game in both practicality and fun. But with all that speed and power does come some drawbacks. The weapon is very unwieldy, and if you don't really know how to use it, you can quickly find yourself with an empty magazine and a whole lot of problems still in front of you. But as you can see, it can be tamed and is definitely worth the time to do so. So, if you want to add this powerhouse of democracy to your arsenal, this is how you get good with the heavy machine gun. The first thing we need to do is to know what this weapon is designed for by understanding what it isn't, and we're going to do that by comparing it to its counterpart, the machine gun. At a glance, the difference doesn't seem all that impressive. They both do medium armor penetration damage, and yet the heavy machine gun is only doing 20 more damage per bullet than the machine gun, yet the machine gun has 150 rounds while the heavy machine gun only has 75 rounds. But this comparison is very deceptive because when you look at the details, you can get a much better picture of what's going on. As you can see, the heavy machine gun is doing a bit more damage, especially versus massive, which means it's going to be really good against focusing on those weak points on targets. But the really nice thing about the heavy machine gun, what makes it really stand out, is it has an armor penetration level of 4 versus the machine gun's armor penetration level of 3. One of the hidden secrets of this game is that just because two weapons say they have the same armor penetration doesn't mean it's the same level of that armor penetration, and you have to go to somewhere like helldivers.wiki in order to actually find that. In summary, the heavy machine gun is not only doing more damage, more of that damage is getting through the armor to the enemy's health, and the end result is staggering. It really makes these two weapons very, very different. So check this out. The machine gun cannot penetrate that front plate on these two-legged walkers. Now, if you do focus on the middle joint beneath that, you can eventually get through it, but you're spending a lot of time and a lot of bullets on just one target. Compare that with this.
There you go. Nice.
It gets even better than this. So remember, the heavy machine gun did a lot more damage versus massive, so check out what that looks like.
Oh, lost my bow stick.
What do I do? I'm on top of this thing. Well, you got me too.
Reinforcing.
Comparing these two weapons is like comparing apples to oranges. Machine gun and stalwart are for taking out mobs and lightly armored targets, whereas a heavy machine gun is held in reserve. You're conserving that ammunition for when you want to punch really, really hard against something that's a medium armored target that's a bit tougher to take down, or weak points and emergency situations. But that doesn't just mean you could point, shoot, and everything goes your way. It takes a very particular strategy, and I played a lot of miserable playthroughs trying to find out what that strategy was, but I did eventually come across something that made you not only feel very powerful, but in control, which was a ton of fun. There are three main things you need to do to make this work. First, you have to control the enemy. And you know what I'm going to say next? Bring stun grenades. You need stun grenades in order to make this work. This charger that I'm running around, I could have stopped it, jumped behind it, taken out its weak spot, and then the fight would be over. But I'm wasting all this time and effort and ammunition trying to shoot him while he's moving around. With Devastators, especially the shield and rocket, if you hit them with a quick stun, it exposes them and makes them easy targets to your HMG, allowing you to pick them off in a matter of seconds. This is also an absolute must when dealing with hulks. Once you stun them, it only takes 1 or 2 rounds well placed in their front weak spot, and that'll take them down. Look how fast and effective this is. Even though you only have 75 rounds, they are very powerful rounds. The second thing you need to do is be intentional about controlling the recoil. The recoil is one of the greatest downsides to this weapon, but it can be easily mitigated by making a habit of crouching or leaping onto the ground so you're in the prone position, and then you engage the enemy. In addition to that, if you get the armor perk that reduces your recoil, and you get the 2 additional grenades, it's going to make this build really good. That's what I was running with, and it made a huge difference. Lastly, cycle the weapon speed for the situation that you're in. If you find yourself in a long or medium range fight and you're wanting to use the HMG, all you gotta do is switch it to the lowest speed cycle on it, and that'll allow you to really control that fire. Keep in mind, every single bullet is doing a lot of damage, so long as you can hit the target, even at a distance, the damage drop off isn't that much. And as you can see, distant devastators are generally the ones you're going to be fighting this way. With one exception, if you're going to be using this against Terminids and you're dealing with a swarm, you can use it in the same way you use a machine gun or the Stalwart. All you got to do is lower the RPMs all the way, and that should give you better control and more time firing the weapon to take out the small targets. Oh, and bug structures too. You can actually snipe out bug structures from a pretty good distance with this thing. For most situations and its general use, you can leave it in the medium fire rate, and the reason for that is that it delivers enough firepower for most situations to take out things very quickly while giving you a good balance between control and ammo conservation. So the idea with this is that you want to shoot it in bursts as little as possible until you get a good feel of how many rounds you can control, and then once you've used it for the task you need it for, you switch it out back to your primary weapon so that you can keep on doing work and saving ammunition. If you haven't used the weapon before and you don't know, there's a 7-second reload time, which in the heat of battle can be a long time, but generally if you're playing with friends, you can find a moment to go, reload the gun real quick, and get back into the action. But regardless of that, not wasting ammunition is part of getting good with this gun. Sometimes though, you gotta go all in. The HMG really does work with any primary, but if you're dealing with a primary that's long range or explosive, this can deal with anything that gets too close. Or perhaps getting up close is exactly what you want to do. In that case, turning the Liberty to max is going to allow you to dispense democracy faster than you ever thought possible. You might be thinking that the max RPMs are only good when you're right on top of something, but that's not true at all. It's actually fairly good against mid-range things as well. Check this out.
Have a taste of democracy!
Unfortunately though, if you want to eliminate a Bile Titan, this is not the best weapon to do that with, but it can take out the weak spot on the Bile Titan, making it a lot safer to deal with for yourself and the rest of your team. The easiest way to get around this is just to drop a 500 kilogram bomb on their face.
Whoa. In the forehead.
The last thing I want to leave you guys with is something very simple. The backpack you bring is very important. When you're going against the automatons, you really do want to bring that energy shield. It allows you to get those shots off without getting interrupted, and overall kind of keeps you protected as you're running around right in the face of the enemies. Against the Terminids, you want to try and keep the little guys off you as much as possible. Bring any kind of rover that you like, and that'll help you with that. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please consider giving a like and subscribe, but if I didn't earn it, we'll try again next time. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I look forward to continuing the conversation there. Grab your HMG today and get good.
Okay. Well, problem solved.